Welcome to the Vertical MRO Podcast, brought to you by Vertical HeliCASTS and in partnership with Vertical Magazine. In this episode, I welcome Scott Hayward onto the Vertical MRO Podcast as a co-host. Scott and I interviewed two incredible guests, Seth Hardage and Mr. Chris Prain. Together, we'll explore this revolutionary Dragon Skin Extreme DSX coating developed by Seth's company, Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing. In this episode, we'll uncover the origins of the DSX coating, discuss its rigorous testing and impressive performance in protecting rotor blades from corrosion and erosion. And you'll hear about the strategic collaboration between Rotorcraft Repair Manufacturing and Kamatics to expand the market reach for this innovative product. We'll get right into the engineering processes behind the encoding, its military applications, and how it enhances preventative maintenance and operational efficiency. Join us as we share customer success stories and highlight upcoming market launch of the DSX coating. It's pretty exciting stuff, emphasizing its potential impact on safety, performance within the aviation industry. I'm Val. This is Vertical MRO. Let's get this started. Special thanks to our sponsors for this podcast, Precision Aviation Group, Metro Aviation, and Robinson Helicopter Company.
Welcome to the Vertical MRO Podcast, brought to you by Vertical HeliCASTS.
All right, everyone, you're ready to contact. You're cleared to the Bravo.
The Vertical MRO Podcast explores the fascinating world of helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul with your host, Val Medved.
Now, line altimeter 3029, approved as requested.
The podcast features helicopter technicians, mechanics, engineers, and MRO experts who share invaluable industry insight, knowledge, and stories that will inspire current and aspiring industry maintainers.
Hey, welcome back to Vertical MRO, everybody. I'm Val, and I have a really special co-host today, Mr. Scotty Hayward. Say what's up, Scotty.
How's it going, everyone? Glad to be here.
There you go. As everybody knows, he was one of our prior guests here now, and we liked him so much that we brought him in to become a co-host every now and then to kind of offer our expertise, to kind of, smarten up the place, because I know I can't do that for shit. So
let's see how that goes.
Yeah. Here we are recording on a Friday night here. So Scotty, how's your day today, buddy? How's the Friday?
Great day today. Actually, I played hooky today and stayed home and worked from the home office. So it was a great day. Air quotes. Okay, yeah. We might have to edit that out so your employer doesn't kind of give you the beans on that one, buddy. So it's all good.
And with us today, ladies and gents, we have a really special guest here, kind of bit of a revolutionary, Jesus, how many whiskeys have I had? Revolutionary idea brought to our helicopter industry, which I think is, it's an impressive, and I can't wait to hear more about it. We have Seth Hardage from Dragon Skin. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, it's good to meet you. Glad to be here.
Oh, thanks a lot for coming on board with us on a Friday night. Like I said, I know there's not too many more, important things for guys our age to be kind of doing this time of the night on a Friday.
Right.
So, and last but not least, my good old buddy, Chris Prain, brother from Kamatics. How you doing, man?
Doing well, Val. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, I love to have you on. We have a prior recording we need to re-record here because we had to, it was done out of the front seat of a BMW. That just sounds awkward saying it.
Yeah.
So,
other than driving, that's the only thing being done in the front seat of the BMW.
Thanks for clarifying that, Chief. I appreciate you. So we kick off the show. What's in our hands? What are we drinking, everybody? Scotty, what you got?
Be honest, just soda water tonight. I have a family function going on, and I got to be on top guard tonight. Top guard, attaboy. Super dad moments tonight. That's right.
Attaboy. Attaboy. Seth, what you drinking, brother?
Water, just water. I still got to drive home. I'm here at the office still for now.
Oh, you're burning the candle on the other end now.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll try not to make this too painful then for you, brother.
No, we're good.
Prainer?
I'm drinking in the joy of being with the three of you.
Golly. Don't I look like the alcoholic? Yes. Well, cheers to all three of you guys. I want to take a sip.
At least you're at a meeting.
That's right. Oh, that's good. Chris, that tastes so good. You should really try some one of these days. Good whiskey.
I'm jealous.
Yeah. So just so that we're going to get everybody located here. Scott, you are in. Go ahead.
Kelowna, BC, Canada.
Boy. Seth?
Pocahontas, Arkansas.
Pocahontas, Arkansas.
Yep.
Anything famous we can talk about in Pocahontas, Arkansas?
Middle of nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah, northeast corner of Arkansas.
Northeast corner. Okay.
Yep.
Or as some people call it, Arkansas, or is that just a bad joke?
Bad joke.
All right. I apologize.
No,
I apologize.
you're good.
And Mr. Prain, I know you're from the Northeast, but I know you're not there today. Where are you at?
I'm in Kelowna, British Columbia. Was making some calls with one of our engineers, Mr. Hayward, yesterday. And
Nice.
Today went to his facility. And I normally work out of Bloomfield, Connecticut at the Kamatics corporate headquarters.
Yeah. Okay. You read my script a little bit here. I'm supposed to kind of go into here and say, give us a little bit of background here. So might as well start with you, brother. It's, I know who you are, but let's tell everybody who you are and where you're from.
Well, like Val already said, Chris Prain. I work for Kamatics. I've been here 28 years. I've worked in a variety of different positions in the BD, customer support, program management. And for the last 10 years, I've been doing solely helicopter products, drive shafts, bearings, anti-chafe, abrasion resistant wear strips, you name it. But I've had the privilege of meeting a lot of great people. I have to say the helicopter industry is my favorite over the fixed wing, and I've really enjoyed the last 10 years. Nice.
Don't be too modest, man. Like, listen, you're kind of the guy when it comes to the K-Flex drive shafts. Like, I leaned on you quite a bit when we worked together. So don't be so modest that you're just I do this, that. Listen, this is the guru when it comes to everything about the material about the drive shaft, and nuts and bolts about the drive shafts, everything regarding K-Ron and stuff like that. Shoot, you're even part of three of us on this call are part of a little FAA history. I'll let if you want to kind of talk about it.
You talking about the 212 shaft, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we can kind of lead back into Scotty on this one here, but the 212 drive shaft, go ahead.
Yeah. So a number of years ago, Scott and his predecessor wanted to get the 212 drive shaft, the K-Flex shaft that had been running on the UH-1 ends for 20 some years at the time. He wanted us to get it on the commercial aircraft. So we went through a kind of a long process to get that done. But in the end, we ended up with a really nice licensing agreement with Bell. We were able to get all the data and qualify it for use on the commercial 212s. And Scott and his company were the launch customer with all your good sales work, Val, when you're at X-Tex. So yeah, it's been a success. We're gradually getting more and more interest and opportunities, and appreciate all the hard work that you put into it, Val and Scott. Thank you very much.
It was no problem whatsoever, brother. Thanks again to Scott for kind of trusting us to kind of get up there and do that. It was right after COVID. That was a hairy moment there, buddy. And that's no pun intended joke. Sorry, buddy.
I think that's a pretty good testament to your product and how it came about. Is now that Bell has 2029, they're actually dropping the standard couplings, and your product's the only one that's going to be available. So
yes,
it means you're onto something when the manufacturer's switching over.
Yep.
Right.
Just as a little history there. So the Kamatics Corporation has been around for how long now, bud?
Kamatics is 60 some years old.
Okay, so they've been around a long time, and the one thing that I always kind of bragged about while working with you when I was a part of the corporation there with you is that the K-Flex drive shafts, everybody loved them. Everybody loved them, right? So you got a good thing there. So keep up the good work and keep up the good representation there, my man. You're doing something right.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Seth, let's go over you, buddy. Let's talk a little bit about the dragon skin. Please feel free, like we're a bragging show, and please tell me a little bit, because this is mind-blowing technology that you just brought forth to our industry. And I've heard about it. I remember talking to Derek Cast, shout out to Derek, and we were kind of talking about this a few months ago, and the fact that this thing actually took off. And now I'll get the two of you to kind of, Chris and Seth, to kind of talk about the agreement here about what's going on with this thing. But just to kind of go ahead, tell me a little bit about Dragon Skin and yourself, please, and where you are today from where you were.
Yeah. So, of course, my name's Seth Hartage, the owner of Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing here in Pocahontas, Arkansas. Our primary business is, of course, the DSX coating, along with repair and overhaul of main and tail rotor blades. We also manufacture main and tail rotor blades for various TC holders. So the DSX is a corrosion and erosion protective coating. It came about in the early 2000s as we were needing a new source for a protectant, and it was really designed for the AH-1 Cobra. Because at the time, everybody was putting on a product called Task, and it's still produced today, and it's a good product. It just doesn't last is the downfall, and it also degrades with UV from the sun. So we started putting together, ideas. We got, tried different components, we just started bringing in raw material, putting it together. And it took us almost 6 years to kind of come up with it. And then when we finally kind of came up with the formula, then we started wanting to figure out how we're going to put this onto a rotor blade. So we started in with our engineering team, started getting that put together, submitted it with the FAA. They put us through pretty rigorous testing over almost a 10-year period.
Yeah.
It was pretty intense, just with a lot of analysis and flight testing, you name it. What's the normal stuff that the FAA is going to put you through.
Yeah.
2012 is when it officially got FAA approved. It's approved as a repair specification. So it's done in the repair station. So you don't need no STCs or nothing, no ICAs or nothing. It's just done. It's done as just like you would use blade tape.
Scotty, you got anything to add on that one, or you're okay?
Yeah, I was a bit curious. Once it's applied there, is there any static load or anything coming off that when?
No, because see, when we did the original testing, we tested. When we did the flight testing, we had to test a bare blade, and we took in all the parameters, all the numbers, the vibes, the torque, everything. And we tested a blade with blade tape, which is already approved on many different manufacturing ones. And then we tested the blade with DSX, and we showed that we were equal. No difference. Everything was perfect. Everything was actually just a hair on the more positive side with DSX than you was with tape. So we actually had a reduction in torque and temperature and everything on the whole aircraft.
So in total, how long did this thing take to fine tune?
From 2002, so 10 years to fine tune it.
Okay.
It took 10 years. And then when we got it FAA approved in 2012, we knew we had something good, but just didn't know how good. So we only went out to small, certain operators, and we applied it, and we just wanted to kind of see how it did.
Gotcha.
Because we didn't know what was going to happen. We didn't know how long it was going to last, so we stuck it on the state of Washington with their Department of Natural Resources fighting fires on their Cobras at the time before they shut down the Cobra line. We stuck it on several police departments down in Florida. So we kind of did the test bed with them for several years, and they loved it. So it kept growing from there.
Did you choose just the coasts just for the saltwater application and flying around to see how it performed? Okay.
Yeah, so we wanted to choose a composite blade because we wanted to see what it did on a composite blade over a period of time. And we also chose an OH-58 because we wanted to see what it did on an aluminum surface.
The old bird, yeah.
And we wanted to see on the coast because, salt water was the most harmful thing for an aluminum blade. So that's why we went after that. And it actually exceeded our expectations immensely.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Did you guys do any desert testing?
Oh yeah, it's been through it.
Talk about it, dude. Talk about it. Great question, Scott. Because that's got to be, from what I understand, I know sand and debris is one thing, but you guys kind of went in the reverse there with water first and corrosion that way.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 140 plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Yeah, so we knew that sand would be a harsh thing, but what a lot of folks don't realize is that water is actually one of the most erosive things when it comes to a rotor blade, just in general. Even on an aircraft flying through the air, water is the most erosive thing. So we went after rain erosion was it was the thing we're most scared about, but it was the thing we knew if we took care of that, we've solved all the problems. So we took off after that. We've had a lot of aircraft, foreign military, operating over in the sandbox. And then we've had a lot of aircraft operating in southern Arizona, southern California, down in southern Louisiana, where we have a lot of just dusty, nasty environment. And the DSX is just immense, especially in southern Texas, where they just really love it. And on a new rotor blade, or even a fresh overhauled rotor blade, when they get into those dusty environments, that leading edge airfoil will that erosion starts to happen within just 25 to 50 hours. And when they start to lose that airfoil, well, that has an effect on the whole aircraft.
Yeah.
And that's where DSX shines, is it gives you that perfect airfoil from now till 5,000 hours from now.
So full TBO?
Full TBO.
Okay.
Just before we jump to the next one, I'm curious about pollution, working in the urban settings. Is there any issues there?
No, never had no issues there on the pollution side. No. Never had any issues there. And that's one thing also for a lot of our ag operators, when they spray a lot of pretty harsh chemicals.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And DSX shines beautifully. So they'll be flying, and the chemicals they're spraying like melts the paint off the skids, the blades. Y'all seen this.
Yeah.
And it don't even touch the DSX.
I didn't think about that, Seth. Truth be told, I didn't even think about that. But you're right. The corrosive stuff that they put in those sprayers and those aerators, and this thing stands up to it. Well, mind you, look at hey, look, it's right behind you too. I didn't even say shit about it, dumbass.
No,
kind of when you started down this development process, was it a response to the industry, or was it a thought in just for yourself, or?
It was really just a repair for ourselves, because when we originally started down this road, we were purchasing the Task and applying it to Cobra blades and 205 composite Huey blades and so on. And the way you have to apply a Task, we kept telling ourselves there's got to be a better way than this. And at the time, the guy we were working with at Task Research, Jim Kern, he passed away in a crash, in an airplane crash. So at that time, we had just decided we got to find a new way. So it was really just for our own need for our repair station. We needed to come up with a better solution for an application process, because the way we were doing it, it was too costly. It took too much time. The turn time was terrible. And then the final product, when we put it out, we were getting too many complaints about it just didn't last. And, we didn't have a solution for it. So that's why we hit the ground running. We had to develop something that would fix this problem.
So when a customer does kind of get it applied to it now, does it add an extra process in the maintenance of the helicopter? Is there something that they kind of need to additionally watch out for now too? Like, I know Scott asked about the static performance of it as well, but it doesn't add any extra dimensional weight to it or anything like that. Is there upkeep that they have to kind of keep an eye out for after X amount of hours, or how does, can you talk about any about that?
So when you get to, after you get the coating, you don't have to do anything. We designed it to where you still follow the same OEM guidelines for your daily inspections, all your hourly inspections, and calendar inspections. No continued airworthiness at all. I mean, you need to get up there and look at it every day just like you normally would on any blade.
Yep.
As far as, you need to keep it clean, just like you would a normal rotor blade. Just get up there with some normal soap and water, just like you would a normal blade.
Yep.
That's it. There's nothing to it. It does not add any extra weight, because as we go through the application process, it's very lightweight, and it meets all the same parameters. We're able to hit master span and chord moments all on the blade weight and balance. So it's perfect.
When you apply it, how thick I don't know if you can talk about if it's proprietary, the information. When you put it on, I assume it's a liquid. Is it getting baked on? Is it?
So it's we'll bring the blade in. I'll kind of walk you through that process. So we kind of let the blade go through a qualification process, because right now we have a very excellent reputation with DSX. So we always recommend that the blade be at least mid-life, because you need to get the best bang for your buck on this. And we want to ensure that the blade is not, severely corroded or have like crazy repairs. We want to make sure it's a very healthy blade that we're about to work on. So it goes through a qualification process. It goes through a very intense inspection process before this coating is applied, because essentially we're never going to see it back. And there's a good chance that you're never going to send it to any repair shop again. I mean, it's it. You're going to run the full life out of it, and that's it. You're going to throw it away and go buy them.
You're off a lot of Christmas cards list just by that statement alone.
Yeah. So, as the blade comes in, we strip it down. We go through all that inspection. It's like I say, it's a really intense process. Chris came down, I don't know, a month ago, and we kind of walked him through that process. And after that, it's a spray-on process at the moment. It can be sprayed on, it can be injected, it can be molded. There's several different processes that can be done. It just depends on what application we're doing.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
But for instance, like a Bell 206, it's a spray-on method. You'll spray it on the leading edge. We'll put it on, and then it'll go through a profiling stage where we get that airfoil profiled. And right now we do a hand profile. And of course, we have all these gauges that will make sure we get that profile perfect. And the thickness, it'll be, on the thickness of the nose, you're at about sometimes it depends on what is a need for that type of operator and what type of airfoil that blade needs. So you could be anywhere from 30 thousandths thick on the nose, or we've seen them as much as 50 thousandths thick on the nose. It just really depends on the need. And then it tapers down on the aft leading edge down to 20 thousandths or down to 15 thousandths. So it tapers down to give you that airfoil.
So it's really not that thick.
No.
Huh.
No, it's to say it's very comparable to blade tape. So, and that was kind of the whole proving point, is it's no different than blade tape. It's just 10 times better, and it lasts forever.
We'll get Chris's injection of how Kamatics kind of jumped into here, but the one thing I'm gonna keep on kind of anything else out there compare this to, or are you solo and alone, or is there past attempts from other companies that kind of tried to do this?
I mean, there's been a lot of companies that have came up with different types of erosion coatings, and none of them have ever lasted. And what they all end up going for, they go after like a polyurethane. The problem with polyurethane is they break down over time. They break down with the UV light and stuff like that. Airbus today still uses polyurethane erosion boots, and within just a few years, they break down and they turn into Play-Doh. I mean, you could peel them off with your fingernail. So we tear those out and replace them with DSX, and then they last forever.
Yeah.
So there's been a lot of companies try, they just never have come up with it.
I kind of I got a friend of mine who is he's in the blade repair side of the world, and he kind of told me a little bit about there's a company back a few years back that used to just apply their coating onto UH-60 and Blackhawk blades. Same scenario. Thought they were kind of going to walk in, and they were kind of having more issues with more issues with the weight and balance of it all and stuff like that. Especially what you said earlier, any moisture, water, anything like that got in there. And I was I was again under the impression that sand and, that type of fog was more damaging to the blade than so he said the water was the most damaging to any rotor blade out there.
That's right. It is. It's very brutal on it. And some of those coatings in the past, when water would hit them, they would blister per se. And then when it would blister, and then as it's flying through the air, the air would catch it and it would just rip chunks off of it. Well, then it just destroys the airfoil.
Yep.
And destroys the way the aircraft performs.
Yeah, can you name maybe a couple companies, give them a shout out who are using the product and what countries they're using it in?
Yeah. I mean, so we do a lot so we've been doing a steady run for the South Korean military. They have 300 AH-1 Cobras.
Yeah.
So they got in contact with us through a couple brokers several years ago, and they send in steady stream of blades every year that we keep doing because they're wanting to convert their whole fleet over to the DSX coating.
Wow,
because they
great.
Can't keep a coating on their blades, and they want something. They need a long-term solution for this stuff.
And those are monster blades on those cars.
Right. We do some Richmond Valley out of Australia. They've been doing all their Hueys, and he can't get enough of it. Hendrickson Flying Service up in Illinois loves it. Doing a set for him right now. Blair Helicopter out in California, they love it, eat it up. Works really well for them. So,
have you broken into the European market?
A little bit, not a lot. I mean, that's just it. And that's kind of where Kamatics is kind of came into the picture, because some of these markets I really can't penetrate because I'm a small company. I mean, we're not. I don't have those kind of connections.
And that walks us right into our segue here. So inject Mr. Chris Prain at Kamatics, buddy. Tell us how this kind of, for lack of a better term, marriage happened. How did the two of you kind of end up meeting up with each other and get talking about this? But this sounds like it's an awesome application to it. Go ahead, brother.
Sure. So we met Seth probably 5-6 years ago. One of my colleagues who's now retired, Rich Lamb, was
Richie Lamb.
Seth. Yeah, Richie Lamb was calling on Seth's business for some tail rotor feathering bearings that he was working into one of his STCs. And he showed Rich this product and said, I want to talk to you guys about this. And Rich, oohed and awed over this material and said, I'm going to talk to the office about it. So he brought it to the Kamatics team, and we really didn't, at the time, they didn't really see how it would fit our business. And, fast forward to this past summer or late spring, and Seth didn't give up. He's your typical entrepreneur. He doesn't take no for an answer. And he came up to Kamatics and had some meetings with us at the Kamatics building and also over at Command. And he said, I really want to work with you on this product. I don't have the reach that the Kamatics sales team does. I mean, we have people all over North America. We've got 4 people in Western Europe. We've got some technical agency representation in other parts of the world. And he basically said, you have what I don't have, and that's the people to sell it out there in the field already. And more so, you have this storied history of developing new products, engineering new products, and making them, bring them to market. And Seth doesn't have the engineering leg or the test facilities that Kamatics has. And one place that Seth really wanted to go was into the military with this. He saw a need. He saw that there was a need for all these big military aircraft. And he's like, I want to get in there. We've already done some, calls with the military, some face-to-face visits, some teleconference conference calls. And they want to explore this. They want to dig deeper. But with that, typical engineering, type organizations, they want to see some empirical data. And so that's what Matt Lassard, our chief engineer, and his team are going to start doing some testing at our facility Seth's been very gracious to agree to code a bunch of coupons. We're going to do some standardized ASTM testing in-house. We're going to do some testing out of house. And we also have a third party that represents the Army specifically that wants to do some testing on their own. So
it's a
we're
long
in the process of doing
brother.
that.
It's a long process. So Seth, if I can ever pass off any advice onto you, just be patient, but it's a long ass process, but the juice is worth the squeeze, man, my friend.
Right.
Absolutely is. Absolutely is. Sorry, Chris, go ahead, buddy. I kind of jumped into it.
Oh, no, not at all. I was just going to say, so typically in an engineering organization that manufactures, IP protected materials, you go about getting all your data together, finding a material, getting your data together, testing, so on and so forth, and then you bring it to market after you've done both bench testing and flight testing in the case of this material. Seth's approach was a little bit different because he saw an avenue to get his product right out into the marketplace by virtue of the pedigree that was already established, the blade tape and the task coding. But now we have to go kind of work backwards and fill in the gaps with the engineering, the technical data that Kamatics is going to be able to help get that to Seth and to the customers that are interested in taking Seth's product.
Little light bulb just turned on here. Imagine, I'd like to see the application of the Dragon skin on the K-Man there. The
K-Max.
The K-Max, yeah.
Yeah.
Did I preemptively jump a gun? I'm going to shut up now.
No, you didn't jump a gun. I mean, obviously, any rotorcraft blade out there is a candidate for this material.
I'd like to see if that happens, and if any feedback would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's a limited audience. There aren't a ton of those flying. Like, you have Blackhawks and Seahawks and Coast Guard Jayhawks. And then you got the bigger military birds, the 47s, the 53s, perhaps. So
you're going after the Chinooks? Yeah,
we've talked to people about them. There's interest there for sure. So both the restricted use flyers and the old Boeing Vertical aircraft, the commercial 234s, 107s, any of those are candidates. It's just we got to go get some more data. Some testing completed.
Yeah.
Then we can go out there using Seth's tried and true process of applying for a repair procedure with the FAA, all in the up and up, and for that particular blade part number. And Seth can explain it better, but he does this by blade part number rather than aircraft type, because some aircraft have multiple blade part numbers that can be used on them.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really diligent about going about this the smart way. And we've got a great foundation to start with and springboard off of. And it's just a matter of doing some of this testing that everybody's asking for.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious there, Seth. So you partnered with Kamatics there, and you basically using their lab and their knowledge to take it to the next level.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, essentially what we're doing, because they have connections that just I can't get into. Like I say, they've been around for 60 years, and for me to gain those connections, I'd have to be around for 60 years. So I'm trying to kind of jump ahead a little bit. So,
yeah.
But they also have, Kamatics has a similar. It's not the same, but it's a similar product. Kron, and it's in the same. It's the same, but at the same time, it's not. But they already understand how a coating works. They already understand how to sell it. They already understand how to treat it. They already understand all the aspects of it.
Yep.
So it was just a good team up. It worked. It was very natural team up.
That's great.
And as we, we'll get some more data on this. That way, we suffice what the military needs, and a lot of it's just a lot of formality tests. What the tests are proposed are just, it's going to be a cakewalk, but hey, we got to do it. I'm good with it. So
yeah, it's a really fun process. I when we partnered with Kamatics on the drive shaft, I saw some of that data testing and the reason going through it. It's pretty exciting when you start getting involved in it and start seeing it getting some traction.
Right. No, I think
you guys are both a part of a little groundbreaking history there. Like Chris and I said, there's there's some good applications, especially when we came into the drive shaft network there to kind of work together with your sizable fleet there, Scott. And now with, Prainer walking in and, taking the reins there and helping out Seth to kind of get him on board with the military. That's going to be massive for you, dude. You're no longer going to be a small company once you get all those approvals, my friend.
No, it'll be good. And, the way we've kind of did the approval process is we always did it by a repair specification. So it allowed us to not have to run down the STC road, which is very intense, So we do it by blade part number. For special occasion, you can do it by blade part number and serial number, which you can get really specific for that certain model.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what we have approved for today is pretty much your entire Bell line, some of your Airbus line. We have, of course, your Sikorsky, your Blackhawks, your CH-53s, your Chinooks, have a lot of the militaries approved. So, and as we keep getting more requests on Leonardo and stuff, it's not too bad of a process. The blades have to come in. They'll go through an inspection. We submit a repair procedure to our engineering team. They will get the FAA approval for those particular blades, and then away it goes.
So anything as small as per se like a Schweitzer R22 all the way up to a Super Stallion and a CH-47.
Right. That's right.
Holy crap, that's a big catalog, man.
And the beautiful thing also about the teaming relationship with Kamatics is now we can also start to venture beyond helicopters. We can start to venture into the airline industry and so on, some of the wind turbine industry, and just keep going.
Chris, have you kind of chance to kind of pop into those industries as well to kind of talk about that with them? Like, I'm not asking you to kind of give away any particular trade secrets here, but have you kind of considered that now into those applications?
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
Yeah. So, no, you're not prying. We've already.
I have a tendency to do that with you, buddy. I'm just saying.
Yeah. We've already talked to airlines, and they're interested on the forward part of the landing gear legs.
Oh, nice.
They can imagine on the runways. There's all kinds of debris, fine debris that pops up and hits those gear legs and chips paint away from them.
Yep.
And when they get to a certain point, they can start to corrode. So they got to come off and they got to strip a gear down and get all the paint off of it and start from scratch, so to speak. So there's interest there. There's also interest on the antenna on the aircraft. The leading edge of all those antenna, they get beat up really badly. They have to be removed and replaced. There's no overhaul and repair procedure for those. Basically, when it erodes through the housing, they toss them. It's my understanding. So there's interest in that market. We have our team in Europe has already talked to a bunch of wind turbine companies like Seth's already discussed. And there's probably dozens of other spots that it can go. We just haven't uncovered all of them yet. But I can tell you one thing. Our BD guys are looking outside of the box. We did have one that was not even aerospace, F1 cars, the nose of the F1 cars.
Oh yeah,
down near the track. Yeah.
Never mind the nose. You put the what do they call it? The DRSs. Those things kind of when they kind of shift up and now or shift down. Yeah, wow, outside the box.
Yep. So there's already been discussions with some of those companies, a couple in specific. I can't mention names, but
I was just curious if you guys have partnered with any or looking to partner with any of the, I don't know what you call them, but all the unfinished runways, like all the gravel strips. I'm thinking they're all over North America and the world, right? And they're landing bigger and bigger planes there, right?
I'm thinking FBOs that are unfinished runways.
Yeah.
Tarmacs.
No.
Yeah. There you go. That one's a Scott, so he owns that commission now.
Yeah.
Seth, is there a marine application to this as well?
Oh yeah, you could. I mean, there's definitely. I mean, I've coated some of the most random stuff here. We've coated even shovel handles just to make our shovels last longer. We've coated.
I live just outside of Winnipeg. Could I get one of those shovels?
Yeah. I mean, we've coated the underside of parts of a boat before to fix it. Yeah, and that's what I say. It goes on and on. And the key is the application process. I mean, that's the key. And Kamatics understands that with a lot of their processes on K-Rock.
I think that's a pretty good fit. Having a slight understanding of what Chris Prain is about and the BD team at Kamatics. I agree with you.
Yeah.
So
what do you think the biggest benefit, just trying to promote the product a bit, is to your customers?
Man, what our customers really best see is no more downtime. That's the biggest benefit for them. And especially because primarily we're about 75% ag operators is typically our workload.
One of the most corrosive users.
Yes, and they deal with some of the harshest environments. And throughout their ag season, they have no more downtime due to blades. They may ding them or hit a tree or hit anything. That's a different setup, and that's a different story. But as far as the leading edge and just general wear and tear, DSX ends the ground time. And then for our military operators, it took the whole AOG stuff out of the picture. I mean, they no longer have to worry about their aircraft.
What about the offshore market? I'm thinking that you talk about this rain erosion. I'm thinking all these helicopters flying out to the rigs and that. Yep. That's a tough environment.
Oh, yeah. It would be excellent in that environment. It's not a market that I've penetrated a lot. I don't really have the contacts down there. That might be something that Kamatics will consider pursuing. It's just not something that, because a lot of my market has always been agriculture, and that's where I cut my teeth. I started out overhauling engines in the agriculture market. So that's where I've always stuck in the agriculture market. So.
Well, I know a guy that can get you a couple of contacts that are throughout the area there, buddy.
Yeah, right. Cool.
Right, Prainer? I'm talking to you, buddy. Stay awake there. I know you're not drinking right now, but come on now.
I'm awake. Yeah. No, we know some people down in that part of the U.S. that can help with that.
Seth, I want to rewind just back a little bit here. So say someone does ding a coated blade. Is there any special process? Like say you have to send it to a repair shop. Repair shop calls you up after they've done the repairs on it and then says, hey, can this be recoated? Or like when you say the blade has to be in a particular qualified state, say someone gets dinged up and they have to get the repaired, does that blade still then get that same application of coating to it? Or what happens if it doesn't qualify for it anymore? Are you flying, say if you're flying a 4-blade system and one of the blades is no longer any good? Have you ever come across?
So if you're in a 4-blade situation and one of your blades gets damaged beyond repair and you have to get another blade, that single blade is going to have to come to us and we got to put the coating on, but we're going to need all 4 blades so that we can ensure that we get the weight and balance correct.
I'm saying my misrepresentation of that. Say it's repairable,
right?
And they repair it, and you have to evaluate it to make sure it's still qualified for the application.
No, because we went through that qualification the first time.
Roger that.
Good. And DSX, we've had it. They'll hit something out in the field, and typically I will come out to them in the field and repair the DSX on site if it's minor. If it's kind of major, we'll have them send the blade in, and I will essentially patch it up and send it back to them. It's pretty easily repairable, so it's not that big a deal. But also DSX, it can take some pretty medium impact damage. It doesn't really hurt it. I've had guys fly through wires, and the wires just rake right off that coating. Don't even hurt them at all. I mean, they're lucky they're living after they fly through those wires, but
they can tell you if they went. That's a good part. Yep.
Yeah. So when they do have medium FOD hit, it doesn't really ever penetrate the coating. You may have a noticeable spot on the coating where they had the FOD, but it never penetrates through it.
Okay. This one's going to get a little deeper here, and I'll leave it up to Scott to ask the next one here. But would you describe DSX as an essential part of preventative maintenance? If so, why is it essential? This can kind of go in part one or part two to both of you up there.
I mean, I find it pretty essential in preventative maintenance, because the spar on your rotor blade is the most important part of your blade. And you want to keep that part protected at all times. Like on a Bell 206, that spar is exposed 100%. That leading edge, that is the spar. So when it's flying, I mean, it's just, you immediately have erosion and corrosion penetrating that spar.
Yep.
And so we get it cleaned up, we get it protected, and we're covering it up. I've had blades out there that have went and timed out, and we've torn the coating back off, and that spar is immaculate. So I believe that DSX really fits the bill on preventative maintenance. It really protects that blade for the full life span.
Gotcha.
When you did the testing there, I got curious because I went to your website and I was looking at it there, and you have a 206 B blade on the site,
right?
And it's eroded, and I've seen that before. So were you able to do, when you're doing your testing, to see any efficiency differences, like in the amount of
major efficiency difference?
How did you quantify that?
We didn't get real deep into the efficiency test because we just needed to justify the testing to get past the FAA. So that's all we were interested in. We never really got deep into the efficiency side of it. We were just concerned that proving to the FAA that we were equal to blade tape.
Yeah.
We were no different than blade tape, which was just another type of protection. We're just better. But on the efficiency is what we found out over time. We ended up finding out later.
Okay.
It was an after thing. And what it comes is that airfoil stays so perfect as you end up with less stress on the aircraft, less fuel consumption over a period of time because of that perfect airfoil. And DSX does wear. It's just how it wears. It wears so evenly and so uniform over a very extended period of time. I mean, we've had blades that have gone out and timed out over a 10 to 15 year period with over 5,000 hours, and you can still see the original profiling marks in the DSX when we worked on it 15 years ago.
Wow.
So, its loss of material is so minute, it's just unbelievable.
Jump over to you there, Prainer, because I know what it has to be a pretty good product for you guys to be involved in it. Just for the quality of your name, your approach to the market is going to be that of check out this shit.
Yeah, I mean, it, like you touched on earlier, Seth. It's kind of similar to K-Ron. It's not an anti-friction coating; it's an anti-erosion coating, and it's in its own lane. There's nobody around that's got what Seth's got. So we saw it as a win-win partnership. Seth's got a good product. We need to do some engineering for Seth, and the operating community really could use this product. We think it's great to go on every rotor blade, there are going to be operators that own aircraft that fly them very, very infrequently. And for those operators, they might not want to opt for the cost of putting this on, because they don't see the wear and tear that a guy flying 20 hours a week during ag season or longer per week during the ag season. So that might not be the customer that we chase after, but the ones that are using their aircraft all the time, we think that's a market that is not even touched yet.
So your military application with high hours operating, medevac, I'm assuming that's got to be on the radar at some point.
Yes, sir. Yeah, offshore oil, like Scott said, and even the firefighting, construction guys.
I gotta imagine that anybody listening to this podcast today, that's anything remotely or related to anything fire, firefighting and suppression. They got to be thinking this is going to be like the next application to this because of the soot and the corrosion that they see. Scott, you possibly have a couple of takes on this one. Fire away there, Pops.
Yeah, Pops. I was actually more thinking probably a great application would be more down the logging.
Oh,
you look along that Oregon coast and all that heli logging that's going on, and that water's and weight is so critical to logging, right? Each pole is.
Well, that's what we've actually got it already in some of the logging industries over there in Oregon, and that's primarily why they have it is because they're flying in such a wet environment, and now they don't have to worry about it. They can just keep on operating. They're not worried about what it does to their blades, so they just keep on trucking like it's nothing.
Huh, that's interesting.
And and even kind of feeding off of what Chris said, DSX is really meant for the working operator. It's not really meant for the hobby guys. It's meant for the high working hours, really putting in the hours, really putting in the hard work on these helicopters. That's what it's for.
Training facilities, training bases.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Flight schools. I got to imagine that's for the stuff that they kind of go through there on it every day. I'm an engine guy, so when you kind of you piqued my interest there when you said you're a former engine guy here.
Yep.
I over speed, over temps, and those types of things. Like that's our world that we live in, especially when you're talking about anything, any type of training school and or military based training, right? So it's
Yep. I cut my teeth on the 331, the Garrett engine. At Arkansas Turbine, so I did that for 5 years. I loved every bit of it.
Okay, so you worked from the heart to the inside out.
Yep.
What I might be jumping ahead here, but I'm quite curious if you can talk about the cost and the time. So if somebody's to send a blade to you, how long does it take for the process to happen, and what can they expect for a cost?
Thank you to our sponsor, Robinson Helicopter Company, the choice for unrivaled safety and reliability so you can accomplish any mission with confidence. For more than half a century, Robinson has been at the forefront of the helicopter industry. From the R-22 to the R-66 turbine, Robinson makes helicopters accessible so more people can accomplish more missions. Climb higher. For additional information, visit www.robinsonheli.com.
Yeah, so on the time frame, of course, we've got a pretty good workload. We're starting to enter into our busy time of year, as primarily our customer base right now is agriculture. So as the end of ag season comes, we really start to pick up in December, January, all the way through June. We really are really heavy into business. But typical turn time on the average set of blades is 6 to 8 weeks, just with the current workload that we have. So it's best if that customer can kind of pre-plan his schedule and of course, certain operators, they should have spare blades, and that's what a lot of operators do. They'll send in their spare blades and we'll coat those first. That way we're not putting the aircraft down.
Right, right.
And we work with the operators. We try to work around their schedules. If they're putting their aircraft down for maintenance for, 6 weeks, and that's all we got, we will do our best to hit it within that time frame.
And Seth, just to be clear here, so just to kind of interject here with Scott was saying when it comes to the cost of things, I'm looking I think the cost of the time. I think what you answered 6 to 8 weeks. You don't need to get into the financials just for the sheer cost of the size of the blade, because it's going to be variable to X amount of degrees just from what you're telling me there. So yeah, just sheer downtime and that kind of stuff is sufficient.
Yeah, we try to really work with the operator and get him back in the air as fast as possible.
Yeah,
so we're trying our best to work with him. So.
Nice. Well, like I said, and Chris, you're going to have your hands full, man, because once this thing comes to market, once you guys get all your testing done, you're going to have a lot of people knocking on your door about this.
Yeah, true. We've been working with Seth already on some shows. We did a joint show with him, the Ag Show down in Fort Worth a few weeks ago. And Seth's going to be at the HAI or Verticon in Dallas in March at our booth. And we have Seth built a really fine looking blade stand. He's got a bunch of different blades on there, both coated and uncoated, to show you what a blade can look like using conventional erosion protection versus what he has on with his materials. And we're hoping to have a really good show. He's going to have a couple of his team members at the show to answer any and all questions. Of course, I'll be there. Our chief engineer, Matt Lessard, will be there. We're actually hoping to have the first round of engineering data completed by the show. So we'll have that in digital format and probably some little sales flyers that people can take back with them and just look at some of the data.
You're going to be back in Kelowna there for the Vertical MRO conference as well. So I got to imagine that this is going to be on the table for that.
Yep. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. And then the month after, I believe it's November, I want to say 7 through 10 or something of that time. I need to get that date. It's going to be down in Fort Worth. So it'll be a Canadian show and a US show. So I'm glad you'll be showcased at both.
Yeah, right now we're squared away for the one in Canada because it's on our budget, our trade show budget for next year. I didn't know that the one it was going to take place 1 month later in the States when we were doing our budgeting. So I'm going to have to beg, borrow, and cheat in order to get on that show. But we'll be there for sure, either walking it, if not a booth.
Hey, you might know someone. Just saying.
Yeah. I might have to lean on you for a pass or something.
Done. I'll get you one, buddy. I'll get you one. Just after the comment of talking about you and the BMW. No, that's just so awkward.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wondering, like, example of a customer who implemented the product into their operation, like one of these ag companies.
Yeah. So
you're charming as hell, though. So that's got to be point number one. So go ahead.
For instance, like Hendrickson Flying Service, they do some pretty intense spraying down in South Texas, and they kept having trouble with their 206 B3s when they were down there spraying. They were having leading edge problems, a lot of corrosion problems, and it was really coming from the type of chemical they were spraying. Essentially, it was, of course, melting the paint off the aircraft, but then it was opening the blade up for severe corrosion. And on the 206 blade, you have these screws at the end of the blade that hold in the inertial weight. And as those screws will corrode, well, they can cause a crack in those blades. And so he was getting really worried about those. So we brought the blades in and kind of looked them over. We pulled those screws out. We oversized them and we coated them. But it was for him. It took away that stress of possibly losing a blade during flight.
Yeah,
because there was a major concern with corrosion on these blades, and it ain't just those blades, but the entire 206 models, they have major corrosion issues. So it really changed the way he operates. So now single one of his 206 birds has DSX coating on. Every time he buys a set of blades, it automatically gets the DSX coating put on it. First thing, he don't even attempt to fly the blades without it.
Huh. So when we were first talking, we were talking about the performance issues of the blade and how that works. But this is interesting because that's from a safety standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I hadn't thought of that part. So.
And it gives you that sense of security for, a long period of time. Blade tape, it'll give you some security, but, at the same time, blade tape can be a little bit scary. A lot of pilots experience some pretty scary stuff with blade tape as it gets applied, and you can apply it by the book to the best of your ability, do everything you can to get it to hold on. And man, they'll go out and just a few flights, that stuff will fling off or part of it will tear off. And then they'll be hearing noises or they'll have very violent vibrations. And, that can cause a knee-jerk reaction for a pilot when he hears things or feels things. So that's why tape is not the answer for these pilots.
Yeah.
Oh, and I got to imagine, Scott, in your environment there too, because you're flying upper altitude, stuff like that too. So you're flying at a much thinner air. That's got to be somewhat of a concern there with you as well.
Yeah, right now we're not using the blade tape like you're thinking, because in the snow environment, the snow is it's not corrosive. It's not causing any issues. But I am curious to see at altitude how this product would work. Yeah,
good call.
I believe it would do well. I believe it would really do well for you.
Higher, thinner, colder air.
Yeah. I've played with it here, just in the shop with some cold temperatures, and we've played with it.
Ain't Canadian cold, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, right. Played with it, and it really performs well for us.
Good.
So
Good.
We actually, it's been in Canada. We got 10 or 12 operators up in Canada that are operating it, and they really like it. So
nice.
Whereabouts in Canada are they?
Man, don't get me.
You put him on the spot.
Don't get me saying those
Seth,
names
I told you,
wrong.
He's going to break your balls. He just did.
No. Hold on. Give me a second.
No, it's okay.
I'm just wondering if in the Arctic, in the cold weather where it's minus 40.
All day long.
Yeah. That, and you get cold soaked blades.
So we're in the Winnipeg area.
Okay. My neck of the woods.
So we're in
which is really cold right now.
Calgary area.
Yeah.
Okay. Higher altitude city. Yep.
Cold there.
Yep. In Calgary, though, things can change there within a 5-minute radio.
Yeah.
Oh, so, yeah. Of course, we're in the Montreal area.
Okay. Poutine Village. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Those are just a few right off that I can think of right off the top.
No, listen, you covered 3 demographics there. You have this, St. Lawrence Seaway with the Montreal side of it. You have that. That's a different type of cold. Winnipeg in the wintertime, it's I can talk from Winnipeg just because I've lived here most of my life, but in the winter we're negative 40 at times. And in the summer we're as hot as 90. It's Fahrenheit for all my US listeners. And then you go to Calgary there, which is a higher altitude city there. It's they get some pretty dramatic weather. Scott can probably talk about that too, because they're kind of on the same topography there, about 4,000 feet, give or take, of elevation.
To tell you the truth, I don't know our altitude. I used to. I don't know anymore. I know my house is just on the snow line.
Okay.
I wish I was one block down.
And then I think we're also in, is it Chilliwack?
Chilliwack. Yep. Lower mainland.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Oh.
We're winding down here. I really do appreciate this. We can just kind of, obviously your part of your mission is to bring the product to more operators. What's your bottom line message to them? And is there a final message you'd like to leave with anybody that's on the fence?
Well, I think our message is the same that Seth carries, and that's if you're interested and you're kind of on the fence, give it a try. Seth's willing to coat some blades, let you try them, and if you love it, you pay him. If you don't love it, he's got a policy. He'll take it back and strip it off and put it back on what was there.
Wow, you really are a good old boy, Seth.
Yeah. No, I'm a firm believer, man. I've had that. I've had several people on the fence, and I'll just tell them, send me your blades. I run them through the shop, coat them. I say, I'll send them to me, and I'll just say, pay me within 90 days. I'm good. It never fails. Within the first 2 weeks, I'll have a check. Never fails.
Attaboy.
Because they do. I understand it's a big investment.
Yeah.
So, but I want them to try it out. They need to understand it. But it don't take long. They understand it real quick. Of course, we put a lot of effort into the quality of our blades, so we really go beyond what other people do. So
it's important to note, when we were at Seth's shop a few weeks back, when your blade goes in there for DSX, it doesn't come back just with DSX. The blade is completely refinished. It's got new paint. It's got new blade root bushings. It's got the DSX. It looks like it just came out of the factory, the OE factory. And So you're not just paying for the DSX, you're paying for the inspection, you're paying for the paint, you're paying for any minor repairs that are associated with normal wear and tear. And if you need more repairs above and beyond that, Seth can handle that all at his facility. He's fully capable. It's across the board, soup to nuts, perfect quality coming back to you. And I was impressed, to say the least. I was impressed.
That's saying a lot. When you hold Chris Prain flabbergasted, that's saying a lot, man. That's saying a lot. Any last question you got there, Scotty?
I'm just curious about your facility there. How many people work there?
So right now we got about 15 guys that are working on the production floor. I've got about 4 office staff with me. So
it's a substantial operation.
Yeah, it's decent. We got about 40,000 square foot here, and it's good. I mean, we're wall to wall packed. I mean,
yeah,
but it's the blades are just so long and it's hard to kind of maneuver them around. But we got a decent little operation. So
with your partnership with Kamatics now, and when that takes off, which it sounds like it will, you got plans to expand at the same facility, or?
Yeah. I mean, we got ideas about it. I mean, there are, we've talked about expanding into larger facilities, even possibly setting up a place up in Bloomfield, Connecticut with Kamatics at their facility, because just to try to reach more folks and more places. So It's definitely on the list. It's just, how we work through it and all those details.
If anyone is interested in getting a hold of you too, how do they get that? You guys can drop an email. You can drop a phone number here. I'll start with you, Seth, and we'll jump into you, Chris.
Yeah, no, they're welcome to call me at any time. Our office number is 870-202-1454.
Okay.
Or they're welcome to send me an email at seth.hardage@rotorcraft.biz, B-I-Z.
That's Hardage, Hardage. There you go.
Yes.
Prainer, jump in, brother. I know your email. I've sent you stuff.
Yeah, you've given my email address to a bunch of people that I don't want to talk to.
Yeah, I know. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, like retirement planners and win a free bikini, that kind of stuff.
There's that stuff. Yeah. There's that stuff in Amsterdam regarding a monkey, a full bathtub of milk, and a bedroom sheet out the window. So that's all on you, brother.
I was never there.
Yeah.
No, you can reach me at Chris, CHRIS.Prain. That's PRAIN at command, KAMAN.com. Or you can call my office number at 860-769-3225.
Awesome. And again, I'm not apologizing for all the stuff I sent you, and you might be getting more phone calls now too. So, yeah. Last but not least question. This is always in every one of my shows with it, so you guys know what it's going to be. Scotty's answered in a seasonal tech, but I'll see if he's going to change his tone here now that we've gone to the winter months here. Pineapple belong on a pizza up there, Seth?
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
You're one of the good ones.
No. I can't do it. It took me years to earn this. So
there's a lot of money invested there. Yeah, you bet.
Right. So no, it does not.
Yeah. Prainer?
That's a hard no for me. I've been to Italy a few times, and I've never seen pineapple on pizza in Italy, and they invented it. So
I'm an outcast on my island.
You are an outcast on your debut, buddy. You're an outcast. You're going to say yes. Scotty?
Seasonal, man. It's winter time, so it's not on right now. I'm comfortable with my answer.
Oh, okay. Listen, this has all been great. I do appreciate you guys spending some time on our podcasters. I'm glad that I was able to kind of finally get you on. I heard a lot of good things about you, Seth. Keep doing the good stuff that you've been doing. A lot of good, like I said, a lot of good words being spoken about what you've brought to the industry there, and partnering up with Chris and the Kamatics team is going to make you even that much more of a rock star. So keep rocking it, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Really enjoyed it. I think it was great. Look forward to everything to come.
Awesome. Prainer, thanks for jumping on. I know you're enjoying some mountain time up in Kelowna.
Yeah.
When do you head home, dude?
We're leaving tomorrow at 10. Don't get home until 1 a.m. Sunday.
Cool.
So long trip out, long trip back. But I love coming out here. I enjoy being up here in Canada and meeting all the customers, colleagues, and Scott was very gracious host and went over to his facility, like I said earlier today, and got a little tour. I'd never been in the Alpine facility, so thank you, Scott, for that. And
it's pretty gangster, isn't it?
Yeah, and I hope to be back up here again real soon.
Excellent.
Awesome. Scotty, well, welcome to your debut, buddy. Welcome to the co-hosting debut. How are you feeling?
I think it went pretty good. It was a great conversation. Super interested in the product, so it was great.
Awesome. Gents, again, thanks again for kind of hanging out with me on a Friday night. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. What? I'm serious. And I can't wait to see you guys at Verticon in March there in Dallas. And anytime before that. So again, thanks a lot for all of that. Thanks a lot for bringing a wicked product and wicked conversation to it. And if you like this podcast, hit that subscribe button, everybody, and we'll try to keep it as interesting as possible. So to that, I say good night, and thanks for coming out, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Val. Take care, everyone.
Stand by for a message after a word from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 140 plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
Thank you to our sponsor, Robinson Helicopter Company, the choice for unrivaled safety and reliability, so you can accomplish any mission with confidence. For more than half a century, Robinson has been at the forefront of the helicopter industry. From the R-22 to the R-66 turbine, Robinson makes helicopters accessible so more people can accomplish more missions. Climb higher. For additional information, visit www.robinsonheli.com.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Vertical MRO, where we explored the revolutionary Dragon Skin Extreme, or DSX, coating developed by Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing. Scott, Seth, Chris, and myself got into the origins of the DSX coating, its rigorous testing, and its impressive performance in protecting rotor blades from corrosion and erosion. We discussed the strategic collaboration between Rotorcraft Repair and Manufacturing and Kamatics to expand the market reach for this innovative product. We also touched on the engineering processes behind its coating, its significant military applications, and how it enhances preventative maintenance and operational efficiency. Our guests shared compelling customer success stories and highlighted the upcoming market launch of the DSX coating, emphasizing its potential impact on safety and performance in the aviation industry. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to our podcast and leaving your review. Your feedback helps us improve and reach more professionals in the MRO sector. Follow us on social media at VMRO on Instagram or verticalhelicasts.com to stay updated on the latest news, insights, and behind-the-scenes content from the world of our MRO. Special thanks to Seth Hardage and Chris Prain for sharing their expertise, and to my boy, Scotty Hayward, for his inaugural co-hosting episode. Welcome to the podcast family, Scotty. Thanks also to our production and editing team for their hard work in bringing this episode to life and making us sound good and look good. Until next time, stay informed, keep innovating, and remember to keep those rotors turning, and may your skies always be blue. I'm Val, over and out.
This has been the Vertical MRO Podcast. Join us next time for another edition of the Vertical MRO Podcast, brought to you by Vertical HeliCASTS.